Welcome, friends, followers, and fellow book lovers. I'm excited to bring you this new episode where I share with you a book I've recently read. This is Iron Will's Book Reviews, a Turning Leaf Solutions production. And this book is The Innovator's Dilemma by Clayton M. Christensen. Now, I had heard this book talked about in a couple of my geeky circles of geeks. And I knew about things like Moore's Law, which detailed that technology would double every 18 months or improve it every 18 months. And so I kind of knew a little bit about the technology space and how some things rolled out. But because there were three reasons I read this book. One is I'd heard good things about it. Two, because I wanted to see what Mr. Christensen's research would show or discover. And I wanted to understand market forces that he was looking at and talking about. And so one of the things that I learned pretty quickly is that in his research of primarily technology companies, he saw a couple different things come about. First of all, he saw that organizations that were coming into a market at the bottom usually took over time, and they would start by taking the bottom of the market. Maybe it was 2%, maybe it was 10%, depending on what the market was. And then what they would do is they would work their way up into other parts of the market as technology improved and things became cheaper. One of the examples that he used was the steel industry, where these smaller steel plants would come in and use recycled steel and make rebar. And over time, the technology improved and they were able to add to their capabilities. And some of them dropped the lower market of rebar and moved up that food chain, which I found really interesting as he goes through and he detailed that. I've also found it really interesting too. Is that most of the big companies did not look for trends, and if they were looking for trends, they weren't really sure how to execute on it and really make the move into the new technology, which is kind of fascinating because Intel. Whoa, I apologize tonight, guys. I'm really yawny. So Intel, on the other hand, in one of the most famous business cases, is their switch from memory to transistors, which led them into the microchip and led them into becoming one of the top chip manufacturers worldwide for the last 40 years or maybe 50 years. And that was a place where they weren't really talked about in the book, but they kind of bucked that system. At least I don't remember them being talked about. Where actually their story doesn't matter for this. But the innovation really comes out of the underdog. Which, are we surprised? Because when we look at markets in the United States, we look at Ford, for example. Innovation. That was kind of his thing. Man, you think I hadn't slept in a week or something. And he came from behind in that case, creating some innovations for the car industry. He is credited, either for good or worse, however you look at it, for the work week, giving people 5 days on, 2 days off, standard working hours. So leadership principles. First one is that leaders can start as underdogs. And a lot of times in these stories, a leader does come as an underdog. And in some cases, the big leader stays there, but they lose a significant portion of their market share. Number two, leaders seek opportunities. An organization I'm familiar with, full disclosure, I am partnered with them. They provide our Starfish Perks platform. They seek opportunities. They're constantly looking for the next innovation and how they can serve their customers. Example, in 2018, they started a 2-year pivot that has delivered massive results for customers. Okay, number 3, leaders look for new angles. And what they really talked about in the drive manufacturing and the steel industry is that the leaders were looking for new angles, but in some cases they didn't know how to execute on it. One of the companies had a smaller drive, a 1.8-inch drive. Said they didn't know how to market it, they didn't know how to move it. It was out there, it was available, but nobody was really buying it. And another company came in and took the 1.8-inch drive market by storm. So the dilemma, in short, to me, the innovator's dilemma is they're not willing to look at all market forces in play. If you're not willing to look at the market forces in play in your industry or in parallel industries, you will miss out on opportunities. For example, in one of the in the case of the 1.8-inch drive, if I remember correctly, they ended up getting sold to car manufacturers, where the main hard drive manufacturers weren't even looking at them as a potential partner. They weren't, in my interpretation of the information, they weren't even looking in that market with the innovations going on in the car industry. So that was kind of surprising, in all honesty to me. Good read, very informative. Excuse me. I'd say a little bit on the clinical side, the nerdy side of things. You know, he gets into some of a little bit of the technology on stuff, and it was good. It was a good read because Mr. Clayton is Christensen is such a good writer that he kept it interesting, even though it was kind of some facts and figures and things. So, my friends, thank you for joining me today. If you get value from this episode, please like and share it. If you are looking for someone to help you level up your leadership and people skills, that's what I do at Turning Leaf Solutions. You can connect with me on turningleafs.com, and you can get a free book consultation. You can book a free consultation there if you're looking for someone to help you with with leadership and people skills. Obviously, I'm a little tongue-tied tonight. I did just spend 4 days supporting a youth conference with my church. So much fun. Had a blast. So back to business, though. Turningleafs.com. That is LEAFS.com. And yeah, all the good stuff's there. Guys, thanks again. Hope you guys go out and make it a great day. Hope you guys go out and make it a great week. Bye-bye.